Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Courier. That's the guy you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video we are going to take a look at perks, mutations, equipment, and everything else you need to know in order to recreate the character. If that's what you want to do. So let's get right into it. What this character is going to be about is we're going to use a furious, faster fire rate, less vats cost, ultracite laser rifle. And to be honest here, the main point of interest for this weapon is basically that we are using a ultracite laser rifle in the first place. For some reason these guys here haven't decided to spawn, by the way. I'm guessing that's because I was just recording another video, but I did switch characters, so I guess usually they should have respawned, but yeah, let's hope that the rest of the video will go better. Anyways, back to the weapon. Yeah, the ultracite laser weapon, especially the laser rifles. Yeah, they aren't really in big demand. They, for some reason, are, I mean, in game supposed to be the better weapons compared to standard laser weapons in general. The Brotherhood of Steel chapter in Appalachia, they experimented with ultracite and tried to make use out of it. But for some reason, when it comes to the laser rifle, the ultracite version is worse than the standard one. It's better in terms of fire rate, but in terms of damage output, yeah, it just has less than the standard version, which is still odd, and therefore, yeah, if you will even see someone use a laser rifle, which already is a kind of a rare occasion, you will see people use the standard version, not the ultracite one. But on this occasion, I thought, hey, I do like the green lasers a lot, so yeah, I wanted to make use out of it, and I found this here for something like 500 caps or so in the player vendor, which is nothing, so I thought, yeah, I snatch it up. And the last time I made a laser rifle video, it was like half a year ago or something like that. I was using a version, a standard laser weapon, an anti-armor one with better VATS crits, and VATS crits meter filling faster, which I used to then do a crit on every second shot, and I think that weapon is today one of my favorite, or if not my favorite laser rifle in this game. But yeah, I wanted to use something else, and back when I dropped that video, one of you guys commented on it saying that I could get better VATS usage out of using the less VATS cost effect rather than the faster VATS crits meter. And yeah, at the time I wanted to use the faster VATS crits simply so I can use more VATS crits. Duh. But yeah, this time around, I think it's the first time I ever play with a laser rifle that has the less VATS cost effect, and yeah, I found it to be quite fun. Now, the Furious effect is a little bit lost on this weapon, to be honest, but especially once we're fighting something like the Scorch Beast and so on, we will definitely make use out of that effect a bit more. And the other ones, well, faster fire rate. Usually people don't like faster fire rate on semi-automatic weapons for obvious reasons. You have to pull the trigger more often, so it definitely works better on automatic weapons. But when it comes to the laser rifles, one advantage they have over your standard ballistic weapons, I would say, is they actually have really good fire rate, have rather good ammo capacity, and yeah, I didn't want to use an automatic version here, simply because, yeah, I like the looks of the standard laser rifle, and it's just a kind of weapon I have in my mind from Fallout 3, where I used it quite regularly. Also Fallout New Vegas, I can remember fondly using the tri-beam laser rifle, which was very powerful actually. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame that in Fallout 76, the laser weapons never really been all that great, sadly. So yeah, I wanted to make use out of it. The way we're doing it here is obviously VATS. I think I can speak for pretty much everyone that you don't want to use laser weapons outside of VATS with free aim. Yeah, you're just losing out on too much damage by not utilizing VATS crits. So yeah, we're using VATS and a very high AP build, basically, as at least for a full health build. It's a very high AP build. You can obviously go way better by using Bloodied, but I think I'm at a point where I should not say that in every single video. Um, I think it turned out rather well. Now, it has still some limitations that hold the weapon back quite a lot. Now, you can use this exact same build and use something like an anti-armor vets crits, handmade, or fixer, and yeah, your outcome would be way better. But overall, I think, yeah, I was surprised how usable this build was, how much fun it was. You're burning through quite a lot of fusion cells, so this is not a one-shot build or anything. You do need your 3 to 5 shots for most enemies, but yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, very well aligned, I see. Not sure. Yeah, we were basically targeting the torso because we were sooner targeting the fusion core from the sentry bot. Just take a look at the ammo, by the way. We've burned through something like 150 shots so far. So yeah, I'm using ultracite ammo, as you probably saw there, meaning that we are utilizing a primed barrel. Now, my first thought was to go for, well, we killed those guys earlier, so yeah, the server hasn't respawned correctly, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. Gladly, we always leave some of these guys here alive, just in case there's a Soltron. I decided to quickly heal up a little bit. Now, this is the red rocket protectron. I'm pretty sure there should be guys still around. I think it's the first time ever that we're going inside this here room during one of my videos, but yeah, there's always a first time for everything. Um, okay, here we do have another Gutsy. And as you can see here, by the way, we are utilizing stealth quite a lot for using a weapon that isn't suppressed. Which is something I wanted to do simply because, yeah, I wanted to utilize follow-through and covert operative and so on. Just on the off chance that when we were fighting bosses, you saw that when we were fighting the Scorched Beast, yeah, we want to initiate the fight from stealth so we can get a little bit of a damage boost, and a little bit is probably an understatement. Um, just so we can basically get away with the weapon a bit better. There are definitely situations where the sheer small damage output of this weapon holds us back quite a lot, and yeah, this is a way to target this. We do have two chameleon pieces, and we do have some of the sneak relevant perks. As I already mentioned, we do have covered operatives, we do have escape artist. So while we are not made to maintain stealth all the time, especially once we are outside and do have a little bit of range between us and the enemies, we definitely can use sneak quite effectively, but we are also prepared to just not fight in stealth if that happens. So situations like these, for example, we can drop quite a lot of these guys off before they even detect us, even though we're using a loud and proud weapon. So the fact that we do have rather well range and do get a good benefit from our concentrated fire perk, yeah, we can basically clear this whole place here out from stealth. It gets a bit more problematic once you are inside, for example, if you're clearing out West Tech or so. Um, if you face like one or two enemies in a room, it sometimes is possible to just drop them off before they detect you, but maintaining stealth is definitely not as big of a part of this build once you are in close proximity to enemies. But it works relatively well, and for situations where we aren't, we try to just be on the move. We do have pretty good defenses, so um, this build is basically a bit of an all-rounder. And as you can see here, you can just spam the trigger. It works rather well. I think it definitely works surprisingly well for what it is, a ultracite laser weapon. And also, yeah, while faster fire rate seems a bit lost on this weapon, it definitely makes a difference. So one thing I wanted to do is basically I wanted to double down on the fire rate by using a hair trigger receiver, which is something I haven't really done in the past when it comes to laser weapons. But yeah, I did that, I tried it, and thing is, I can already shoot as fast as I can pull the trigger with this weapon. Um, might be because of the faster fire rate effect. I think though that even a standard ultracite laser weapon would probably be enough to do something like this. Um, yeah, and therefore I went for the prime receiver, just giving me a little bit of extra damage, and especially when we are fighting Scorch Beast, I found that, yeah, the difference was very noticeable. And yeah, I had a ton of fun with this build. I do like the aesthetics a lot. It's just a very militarized guy. And yeah, it's probably a bit, I mean, if you're saying something like Courier, you already you're immediately thinking about Fallout New Vegas. This build has nothing to do with that, but yeah, we're kind of a gun runner, kind of a caravan guy. Um, that's basically a bit of the promise. One thing I found surprising is how well the hazard backpack works with the um, bloodstained skin for the combat armor. So this all works very well together. And yeah, this guy is basically just a veteran military guy who's now delivering um, goods from A to B. And on this occasion, we're delivering some hazardous material. And yeah, we're utilizing high military equipment from before the war. In terms of armor, you can see that our right side of the body, our right limbs are basically sturdy, our left ones are um, heavy, which initially threw me off a little bit. I found that, yeah, I wanted to have either way, one sturdy or one heavy set, but thinking about it, it actually works kind of well in looks. If you're aiming the weapon, your left side of the body is a bit more in front, meaning that your cover there is a bit better. So overall, I think it works together very well. I do like the skin very much. I never utilized it though, really. So yeah, from all the talking, by the way, I just nearly failed to notice this guy. And one thing about this build is just its precision and its range. Yeah, it definitely is fun to use outside here. So this guy, very far away, usually I wouldn't try to hit it, but yeah, due to the fact that we're getting such good increase to our VATS hit chance from concentrated fire by using a semi-automatic weapon, we can get away with a lot. Now we do have certainly rather little enemies to fight. Yeah, just because, as I said, the server hasn't reset properly, but I think it's enough to throw home the point. Now, where this weapon really falls short is, you saw that when we were fighting the Scorched Beast, it did went okay, so it wasn't a disaster, but yeah, once you're fighting enemies with higher HP pools and higher defenses, that's where the build falls flat. That's where you really start to notice the lack of damage output, and I would advise you to just carry a good a secondary weapon for such occasions. One thing that would come to mind is definitely a plasma rifle with the flamer barrel. Um, Enclave plasma rifle, even better, probably, if you have access to that. But yeah, you definitely have to keep track of your ammo, by the way. But one thing I found is that, yeah, farming ultracite ammo is rather easy to do in daily ops. Ultracite fusion cells, like if you find the right daily ops, think about something like decryption with maybe cultists or something like that. Yeah, you can 1 to 3 shot, yeah, maybe not one shot, but 2 to 3 shot those enemies rather easily and get something like 16, 15, 16, 20 ultracite fusion cells in return. So if you want to do that, you can definitely do relatively well there. Just farm a daily op for like half an hour, and you can easily get like 1,000 to 2,000 shots, which is definitely nice. The thing is, though, you have to loot them pretty much immediately. They do seem to not hold on to their respective corpses for long. Talking about the ultracite fusion cores, so fusion cells. But yeah, if you can manage to have a good supply of this equipment, of this fusion cells, the build is very funny. Now, as I mentioned, the enemies that I had problems with, the only one I really encountered where I thought that, yeah, I just needed a break afterwards was a legendary Sheep Squatch level 100 version. That guy was a pretty much a disaster, but yeah, I used Psychotats and that made the fight a lot easier. They definitely seem to be very powerful on this occasion. Maybe for the rest of these guys we will utilize them. So just to see, I think their difference is better than you would expect just reading the description. So I overall thought that, yeah, they are very beneficial. They are my go-to chem when it comes to this build here. And yeah, as you see, due to the fact that we do have 2 chameleon pieces and we do have high agility and the escape artist perk, we can easily get back into the hidden status every now and then. So yeah, even this fight here, which usually is pretty much the toughest thing I face during my videos, went rather smoothly. And yeah, I think that all went rather well, to be honest. We burned through something like 500 fusion cells, which is definitely not a bad bad thing, I guess. I think that was pretty efficient, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video so far, guys. And now let's take a look at the more in-depth details about the build. So first and foremost, we're going to take a look at our mutations here. So I didn't even know a double XP was on. That's nice. We do have the Psychotats, so for a moment we will have extra perception and damage. But yeah, let's talk about the mutations here. As you can see, we do have Bird Bones, Chameleon, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Herbivore, Marsupial, Speed Demon, and Unstable Isotope. Unstable Isotope and Chameleon, leftovers from other builds, but they don't really have any downside to our build here, so I didn't bother to remove them. The more important part here, most important, obviously, is Bird Bones and Eagle Eyes. Extra agility, extra perception, extra crit damage. Those are the points you're looking for. Extra agility for, first and foremost, better sneak. Secondly, more action points to use in vats. Then Eagle Eyes, better perception means better hit chance, and extra crit damage, which is always nice. As long as we're using vats, which we do all the time. Then we do have Egghead just to throw in because, yeah, our strength is already down a lot. Endurance is pretty much a dump step for us either, so yeah, we just take the extra intelligence here. Herbivore can be very beneficial if you're using something like Blight Soup or even Corn Soup to get either better vets, crit damage, or better AP refresh, even on top of all what we have already. So yeah, that's just there, but you don't really need it. In addition, Marsupial and Speed Demon, we always trying to be fast here, getting into cover when necessary and so on. So those 2 perks, those 2 mutations are pretty mandatory for this build, while not being completely necessary. But I would definitely recommend you use them. And yep, for the moment, that's pretty much it when it comes to mutations. And now we're going to take a look at our equipment here. So here it is, the Furious, faster fire rate, less VATS cost, ultracite laser rifle. So overall, I think if you were to see this weapon here, most players would be disappointed because yeah, it looks okay, but yeah, just knowing how underperforming ultracite weapons can be, yeah, you would probably sleep on this weapon and not give it a shot. But I'm ultimately very glad I did so because I had a lot more fun than I initially thought I would have. And yeah, in terms of modifications, we do have the prime capacitor, as I said, giving us pretty substantial amount of that extra damage. I think with the standard capacitor, or we were somewhere around 60 damage, so the prime capacitor added quite a bit here. Then we do have the aligned long barrel and reflex sight in order to boost our AP efficiency. Pretty sure the beam focuser also does that. And in terms of the stock, we went with the forceful stock, which is not the best option here if you really want to go for just efficiency. You want to have the aligned or the precise stock, which would also increase your efficiency when it comes to AP. I went with the forceful stock for one very simple reason, which is I like the looks of it. I hate that the aligned and precise stock basically just have this grip and not have any stock, so to say, in my opinion. And yeah, I think it looks stupid. I don't like it, so I went with this one here just for the looks though. So keep that in mind. But I think we managed well, and I think we didn't once run out of AP. At least I didn't really notice. So yeah, you can definitely get away without it. Um, if I could change something about the legendary effects of the weapon, I would definitely go for anti-armor. I still think that for laser weapons, if you're running low health, high health, anti-armor is the best effect. Um, I mean, something like aristocrats wouldn't obviously hurt, but yeah, anti-armor is very beneficial. Less vats cost, I would like to stay here on this build. We're just using it very efficiently, I guess. So um, the only thing I could change here would be to go for either better VATS crits instead of faster fire rate. But to be honest, faster fire rate is fun and makes the weapon rather unique in my opinion, just because you can spam the trigger so fast. So yeah, I like it, but yeah, if I had to go for something else, I would go for VATS hit chance or better VATS crits. But overall, I'm still pretty happy with the weapon here. It definitely is fun. So yeah, not a lot to say here. Uh, yeah, let's look here. We have around 900 shots, by the way. So yes, we burned through 500 to 600 shots. In terms of armor, we do have two chameleon combat armor pieces. One with extra agility, which is nice, and one with AP refresh and the harder to detect while sneaking legendary effect. So very nice piece here. And the other three are Vanguard AP Refresh, Vanguard AP Refresh, and Weightless AP Refresh. Would obviously be nice to have this one as a Vanguard's version as well, but yeah, the important part here were the AP Refresh pieces. So as you can see here, we overall have 4 AP Refresh pieces. So let's just burn some action points and see how fast they come back. Yeah, pretty much instantaneously. So that's a nice thing to have. And in terms of under armor, we have shielded road ladders for extra perception, agility, and luck. So yeah, pretty standard for a vets heavy build. Now let's take a look at the perks here. We do have only 2 strength, which we use for bandolier, which is not necessary. I don't even carry ballistic ammo at the moment, I think. Pretty sure at least. But yeah, I guess if you would like to use this build, you definitely want to have a bit of versatility and keeping something like an anti-armor that's crit fixer with you or something like that in order to deal with bosses is not a bad decision. So yeah, ultimately having bandolier here is a nice thing to have, and yeah, it's just one point of investment, so we went with that here. Um, in terms of defense, yeah, obviously blocker would be a nice thing to have, but we try to kill everything from rather great range, so yeah, there's that. Then we do have perception, which is rather low at 12. You would expect probably that this is at 15 if we're using a rifleman build, but to be honest, we didn't really have the perk points, so we just went with 12 perception and used rank 2 of all the rifleman perks rather than rank 3. Then we use tank killer, this is very important, and we use rank 3 of concentrated fire. So obviously if you have the perk points due to legendary effects or something like legendary perks or something like that, go max out rifleman just to give a little bit of an extra damage increase, but I found it wasn't necessary, so that's what we went with here. Boosting our damage by 15% each with the Rifleman perks, giving us extra armor penetration and a stagger chance, and yeah, concentrated fire at rank 3 rather than my standard combination of rank 2 ground pounder and rank 1 concentrated fire, because on semi-automatic weapons, concentrated fire at rank 3 still gives you a very good benefit with every single shot, meaning that at least on the third or fourth shot, we can basically hit every single enemy, and this makes it so we can use the weapon in the way you saw when we were approaching little radar camps or even the super mutants, so we can start to fire from relatively high range and start to hit enemies relatively soon. Endurance, yet another dump stat here, which is a bit odd for someone who's not constantly in stealth and isn't in power armor. I rarely do that. But on this occasion, yeah, we try to bring down enemies rather fast, we try to stay on the move and not being hit, and we try to rely on rather good defense stats. So, combining the fact that we have 3 Vanguards pieces, that we have all modded out combat armor, and we do have evasive, which we will take a look at in a second. yeah, we can do rather well with only rank 3 of endurance and rank 3 of fireproof here, just to shield us from explosions. We additionally do have a dense chest piece. I'm pretty sure I can take a look at that in a few seconds though. So yeah, explosions are pretty much nullified. Then we do have Charisma, good old combination of Lone Wanderer and Tenderizer. Lone Wanderer on this occasion very beneficial, 20% less damage, obviously nice since we not have a lot of defensive perks otherwise, and especially the 30% faster AP refresh stacks up with all of our AP refresh pieces, and yeah, as you will see in a second, we don't utilize Action Boy, so yeah, on this occasion, that was the combination I went with. And Tenderizer, pretty straightforward, 10% extra damage, multiplicatively that is, after our first shot. Synergizes very well with the Furious effect, obviously, and in addition to that, um, yeah, we never one-shot anything, basically, so yeah, always beneficial. In terms of intelligence, we're rather low with 6. We do have first aid and batteries included. Batteries included, straightforward perk choice here. Our main weapon we're using uses energy weapon ammo, and yeah, reducing its weight is rather nice. We're not having a lot of strength, keep that in mind, so we not have a ton of carry weight, so reducing that would be nice, especially if you carry something like a plasma flamer, for example, as a secondary weapon to deal with bosses. Yeah, especially those plasma cartridges will weigh you down easily. And lastly, we do a first aid, just because making Stimpaks a bit more efficient, meaning that during a fight, if we get down to 50% health, we take damage even faster since we're not utilizing our Vanguard's effect anymore, and therefore, yeah, having a bit more bang for your buck when it comes to your Stimpaks is a nice thing to have. Then we go on to the most important perks here, most important stats here. Agility, which is filled with covered operative, sneak, and escape artist. So that's what I touched up on during the video. We are very well equipped to fight outside of VATS, but we're trying to utilize it as much as possible. Basically, your standard approach is if you are detecting enemies, you go down crouching, going into caution or into stealth basically, and yeah, you wanna always open up your fights with stealth. Due to the fact that we're getting covert operative bonus and in addition to our standard sneak bonus, and we're getting follow through, that means we can thin out the herd relatively quickly, can basically kill the first few enemies. Another good thing that you can do is you can scout out the area a little bit, maybe pick your target wisely, start to fight the toughest enemy or the one that you think will be the biggest challenge at first, trying to kill that off, and then basically deal with the mobs that are around. So it's a bit more of a tactical build than most of the other ones, but you can definitely utilize it rather well. And even during fights, once you're detected, you can often just go around the corner, go back into sneak, and yet again get bonus from all these perks. Then we do have evasive, a perk that a lot of people don't really like because, yeah, 3 perk point investment for a bit of extra resistances isn't the best perk in the world, but on this occasion I liked it because we do have very high agility, so we can really make good use out of it. And yeah, I really wanted to have good defense stats just because our endurance was so low. In addition to that, we do have 1 rank of Gun Fu just for the gimmick to switch between enemies. Works very well, especially in the way we are using this character. At mid-range, in third person, Gun Fu works best in my opinion. So yeah, it's just there, not for the damage bonus especially, but for the gimmick of switching between enemies. Then we do have White Knight. Um, Not a lot to say here. As I said, we try to keep our armor rating relatively high, and yeah, having broken pieces is a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. And yeah, this just reduces the amount of repairs we have to do in the first place, and secondly, reduces the amount of resources we need to repair if it's happening. So yeah, White Knight was a relatively obvious pick for me. And lastly, we do have Born Survivor just as a little bit of a safety net. Um, for those of you who wondering, yeah, there's no adrenaline here. I would have loved to use it. It's always a good pick, but on this occasion, yeah, I felt like we can get away without it and rather use sneak here in order to get a little bit of extra damage if we need it. So yeah, if you want to make room for it, you can leave out Gunfu, White Knight, and Born Survivor, and basically already have everything you need in order to use Adrenaline if that's what you want to do. But as I said, I don't really need it. And in addition to that, I really wanted to have the powered pieces for my armor in order to not relying on Action Boy here. So I have room for my sneak perks. So there's a lot of compromise in agility, but I think it worked out rather well. And lastly, we're going to take a look at luck. Starting off with Bloody Mass, then we do have Grim Reaper Sprint, Better Criticals, Luck of the Draw, Star Sheens, and Critical Savvy. So, first and foremost, Critical Savvy and Better Criticals. This is the chalk standard combination for pretty much every single um, Vats character. If you're not going for something more specific, like maybe a Shotgunner, which could make more use out of Four Leaf Clover than Critical Savvy in most situations. So, yeah. If you just can't decide, you can't go wrong with Critical Savvy and Better Criticals as a combination, and in addition to that, Grim Reaper Sprint. So overall, what we have is better damage with criticals filling rather fast, and lastly, a chance to refill our complete action points if we kill someone in action, in VATS. You could live without Grim Reaper Sprint, throw in something else like Tormentor, Four Leaf Clover. I definitely thought about stuff like this. Especially Tormentor was a perk I really thought about using, just because, yeah, if we fight something like a Scorch Beast or a Sheep Squatch, it could be beneficial to cripple them and immobilize them. But ultimately, I still feel like, even with our fire rate, the amounts of shots we're getting in, Tormentor just isn't so reliable. I think it's underperforming quite a bit. Um, I definitely had situations where I couldn't cripple an enemy in 10 shots or something, and at that point I was like, well, if I have to pump like 15, 20 shots into the leg of an enemy, in the meantime, I could pump all of those shots in its head, and then it would probably be over. So yeah, um, I went with Grim Sprint, but that's up to your choice. And lastly, we do have Bloody Mass, which basically this makes it so, yeah, we basically have rank 3 of all the Rifleman perks if you think about it, because those additional ranks would add 5% damage each, adding up to 15% damage each, which we now here have with Bloody Mess. So yeah, this was a little bit of a compromise, but I thought that the extra perception here given by uh, 15 perception in order to boost Rifleman to rank 3 was not as beneficial as getting more luck. So yeah, you can do as you wish here. There's obviously a lot of room for switching around in this build. What you could also do, which I was thinking about, is using intelligence as a dump stat, dump first aid or batteries included. Even I would rather dump first aid and use those 3 perk points in order to boost perception to rank 15, and then use max rank of rifleman. But overall, I was just happy with how the build turned out, and that's why I decided to now release it. And yeah, all that's left here is our legendary perks. And as you can see, we have rather little investment into legendary stats for once. I mean, it's still three different stats that we're boosting, but yeah. Legendary perception, legendary endurance, and legendary luck. So not a lot to tell here, other than, yeah, those are here in order to give us more perk points, perks to spend. Then we do have far-flung fireworks at rank 2, which is always rather nice. Can definitely help if you're fighting hordes of ghouls or anything, but I said it in every single video, this is never going to be a perk that significantly boosts your damage output during fights or anything. It's just a fun little gimmick, and if it happens, it can definitely improve your gameplay, but it's nothing to rely on. Then we do a follow-through, which I would have loved to maxed out here. I touched upon it during the video. Opening fights against tougher enemies with this bonus here means that if your first hit is a stealth hit, for the next 10 seconds you do get your bonus damage, 20% multiplicative damage on this occasion, 40% if you're maxing it out, regardless of if the enemy detects you in the meantime or not. Just your initial hit has to be a stealth hit, and that will be enough. So that's very beneficial with how we're playing this build. And lastly, just because to switch up things a little bit and not always just use every single build, every single legendary perk in order to boost my stats, I've thrown in Master Infiltrator for once, making it so that we can hack every terminal and every lockpick every lock that we come across. No big reason here. It's just a convenience perk. You'll definitely find something better if you're looking for it. And yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the build, guys. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I honestly, as I said, was quite surprised by how well the weapon performed for what it is. I mean, it's still not OP or anything, but I had a ton of fun with it. The only thing you have to accept is that you're burning through fusion cells rather fast, so that's something to keep in mind. But if you say like, hey, I have access to 3 to 4,000 ultracite fusion cells, they will last you a few days, and you can definitely have a lot of fun with this build. So don't sleep on the weapon, give it a chance. It can be a lot of fun, and yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and see you next time. Bye.